Hi, welcome to this video, and in this video I'm actually going to test 3 hot sauces, but I might end up doing something like 5 tests. So maybe I'll go a little bit quicker and just say that in front of me I've got the Food Sense Generation 4. I've got these 3 sauces in front of me, and as I say, I'll be testing their hotness, their Scoville heat units. So I've got something that I've labelled, it's labelled A, I've got something labelled B, and I've got something that's labelled C. I don't know the absolute composition, but I know that A is made from yellow Scotch Bonnet peppers, B is made from Habanero, and C is made from Carolina Reaper. So these, I think the minimum, not minimum, but this has a kind of made from a pepper that has a kind of range of about 100,000 to about 350,000 Scoville heat units. Now be careful with those ranges, because ranges are when everything's dry and desiccated. These are probably made from more like fresher pepper, so there'll be a water content of 90%. So you do have to really dilute or tone down those expectations. But anyway, that said, the pepper that goes into that's about 100,000 to 350,000. That's about 150,000 to about 350,000. That's got a reputation for about being 2.2 million, but be careful because, not obviously, but these are kind of the records, let's say, rather than what necessarily the average stock is. Anyway, with that said, these are blended not so much for hotness, but they're blended for flavour. But I am going to go ahead and do some live testing now. So what I have done here is I've got the Scotch Bonnet, let's say chili sauce. You can sort of see the colouring here. I've got a little sample in the back, because what I've done is I've taken 100 milligrams of that Scotch Bonnet, and I have I've diluted it with 900 microliters of the buffer. So the chili pot buffer. I might just have a quick look behind me in a minute to see if if I can find it. I'm just going to put one of the chili sensors in here now, because I'm going to do the measurements live, and I might just have a quick look over my shoulder. Yeah. So I've diluted 100 milligrams with 900 microliters of the buffer. Okay, and I will just get a clean pipette tip. What I'll do is I'm just going to label this up now, so I can just give it a setting. Right, I'm going to give this the name CPA 10. 10 tells me I've done a 1 in 10 dilution, and I'm just going to call it 2. Right, so this will allow me to later on find the data. That's probably done. Go back. Right, now I'll take the sample. If you hear me sort of saying a lot of things and repeating, it's just so I'm making a mental remembering what I've actually done. So I'm taking 50 microliters here. I might just give this a quick vortex just real quickly to make sure everything's homogeneous. I have a little vortex in the background. It's actually from OmniLab. It's only about 100 pounds, dollars, or euros, depending which currency you generally work in. All right, I've put the sample on. I'll go continue. It's a 1 in 10 dilution, so I'll make sure I choose a 1 in 10, and then I'll go start, and off we go. So this assay, as he said, it takes about 12 seconds, so it shouldn't be that long an assay. And when it's run, we'll get results, and I'll also be able to look at the raw data as well. So let it finish its run. Now I've also got, that's essentially A. So A is the Scotch Bonnet. As I say, I've done a 1 in 10 dilution on that, which I also told the software. It's done the analysis on it, or rather it's doing the analysis, and then it will give me the results, and we will know the hotness of that particular Scotch Bonnet. Right, so it's given me a hotness here of 4,010 Scoville heat units. And the nice thing about the Food Sense Generation 4 is, I always like to say, it really gives you a transparency. So let me just go to my screen here, and I will just go to my particular unit. I'll just do a refresh here. In fact, that's the data there. I know it's the data because I can see the time and date on it. and then I can see my peak 1, my peak 2, and peak 3. So those are the 3 peaks of capsaicin. Then I can see the analysis, the peak height, and then I can see that 4,000 Scoville heat units there. So the Scotch Bonnet has come in at 4,000 Scoville heat units. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the sensor. I'm going to put in a new sensor, which I am doing. I will click that in. I want to name this sensor. I want to name this particular test now. So this is going to be the B. Sorry about all this naming. Right. So first of all, I'm going to take B. I've got a couple of samples on B. First of all, I've done the 100 milligrams in 900 microliters of buffer. So this is B. This is what it looks like. This is made with the Habanero peppers. And I will do an analysis on that. I'm actually go to this screen here. I've named it so I can find this in a minute. I will go back. I will take a clean pipette. See, I'm having to say things aloud so I remember my order of things. I'll flick this open. I'll take out the B. I'll put 50 microliters onto the sensor, which I've also done, and I will go continue. All right, I've chosen the 1 in 10 dilution because that's what I did. I'll go start measurement. Again, about 13 seconds, and we will have a result. So this is, again, the Habanero. This one's made with a Habanero. The first one was made with a Scotch Bonnet. Now it's come back here, and I'll hold it up a bit. It says upload complete, too high, dilute more. Now, you may have noticed that I said I had 2 samples here. One is 1 in 10 dilution, and I'm going to deal with the other sample in a minute. But first of all, let me just show you the screen. So what we're looking at here is the original sample. This is A. So I'm going to click off A now because we've already dealt with this. This was about 4,000 Scoville heat units. Now I'm going to go back and look at the latest results for something that we call B, which is the Habanero. There's the B there. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at it. And it's just about flatlined here. So what the app said, has said, I know it's going to be very bright. It says upload complete, too high, dilute more. So upload complete, too high, dilute more. This is the app's way. It's analyzed the data. You can see that there's an intense peak. So look at how intense these peaks are. There's peak 1, peak 2, and peak 3. So what I did was I took the 1 in 10 dilution. I took 100 microliters of this and diluted it with another 900 microliters of buffer. So I've actually gone for a 1 in 100 dilution. Now we do this. The software is smart. It can see when something's very hot, but it can see that this is hotter. And what it's doing is advising me now, look, 1 in 10 means that you haven't really extracted all the capsaicin. There's too much capsaicin in there. You need to do a greater dilution. And so I have prepared a 1 in 100 sample of B, which I will now test. So I will take a fresh sensor. I will put it in the machine and the Scoville meter, food sensor generation 4. I will label it up so I can find the data in a minute. So let me just go to my screens here just so you can see what's going on. So this, I'm going to call it 100 because by calling it 100, it'll tell me that I did a sort of 1 in 100 dilution. And I will go done, and I will go back. Right. So this is B. It's a 1 in 100 dilution. I've got a clean sensor on there. I'll get a clean pipette. I will take this 1 in 100 dilution, which I will now do. I will take it up in a pipette like this. 50 microliters onto here. All right. Maybe I should have given that a little vortex, but okay. I'll choose the 1 in 100 dilution. And let's see what it says this time. So don't forget, the first time it said, okay, this is too high. essentially it needs to be diluted more. So the app told me what to do because it could see that the data was outside of the, let's say, range. Okay, so now I have a result and I will show you the result. So I'm going to hold it up. I've got a Scoville heat unit of, it's hard to read, it's actually 11,100. 11,100 Scoville heat units. Now, how do I sort of essentially prove that? Not prove it yet, but I want to go now to my my screen here. So what we do is I just do a quick refresh here. I find the result, which I have it here. So I can see that this is essentially sample B. I can see through my naming that actually I've called it 100, which tells me I diluted it 100 times. And then I can go in here. I can see my signal. I can see my my peak 1, my peak 2, my peak 3 for capsaicin, and I can see my 1,100 Scoville heat unit result here. So 4,000 Scoville heat units, 11,100 for B. Now I'm going to do C. So take out the sensor, pick up C. You'll see me deal with this now. I'm just going to put a fresh sensor into the device. I will put it in like that. Right, so this one is made from the Carolina Reaper. I might just change screens for a second. So this is essentially sample C. So this is sample C that I've got here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call it, first of all, I've done a 1 in 10 dilution. I know it's going to give me, I wouldn't call it, an error is too strong a word for it. But I've done a 1 in 10 dilution with it, but let's just see how that runs. It's made from Carolina Reaper, so I think you can start to get a sense of what it's actually going to do. So I've got a couple of samples here. I'll take the 1 in 10. Which I have here. I will run it. I will put a clean pipette onto here. So I'm going to do that. 50 microliters onto there. You can smell that one. I'll go continue. That's 1 in 10. Start measurement. And off it goes. Yep, it's very flat here. I can see immediately that, and I'm not super surprised, but I could see it was immediately very flat there, but it's gathering the data in real time. Right, it's coming back with, it says, upload complete, too high, dilute more. So same story as last time. Let me just change the screens for a second. So this is sample C. So let's look for a sample C here. I'll just do a quick refresh. Sample C, 1 in 10 dilution, because the way I've named it, it helps me find it quickly. See the way it's flatlined there? Right, so that flat line is already telling me, and I've got my peaks, but this is my peak 1, my peak 2, and my peak 3 for capsaicin. But I'm sorry, that one's starting to get to the back of my throat, so I'm not coughing yet, but I can feel it a bit. Now what I've done is, I'm just going to vortex this quickly. This is a 1 in 100 dilution of sample C. Now, the reason that we do these different dilutions is because capsaicin is not terribly soluble. It's actually quite insoluble. And so the hotter it gets, in order to accurately measure it, we have to do more dilution. But you can see that the app is actually quite smart, that the app is informing me. It can look at its own data and it can see that, things are flatlined, so it knows that it needs to be diluted more. So what I want to go now is go done. I'm just going to make sure I name all this up so I can find the data later on. Right, so that will help me identify that this is the CPC. So it's number C, made from the Carolina Reaper. It's a 1 in 100 dilution. Good. I will go back, just making sure I'm doing everything right. I will take a sensor. I will put the fresh sensor in here. I will close that up. I've got C in front of me. I'm just going to grab a clean pipette tip. Right, now I'm going to take my 1 in 100 chili sauce made from the Carolina Reaper and take it up in my pipette. Put 50 microliters onto here and probably hit continue. Make sure I choose 1 in 100, which I did, and about 13 seconds to do the analysis. So I get this kind of, I can see the raw data being gathered in real time, so that gives me a sense that, things are essentially working correctly. And then it's come back with a score of 68,000 Scoville heat units. So I'll just hold that up like that, which I am doing. And then I will show you what we are looking at. So I will go to here. I will go now to my C, which is 100 here. I will click it. Right, you can see how big these peaks are. It's not flatlined this time, but don't forget, this is 100 times diluted. And you can see, you can see the, look at this. This is peak 1, peak 2, and peak 3. Even after 100 times dilution, you can really see these peaks. So that says that the Carolina Reaper one is 68,000 Scoville heat units. I could see my result here as well. So in summary, I will, so I've tested 3 sources. I was able to test this Scotch Bonnet quite readily, just a 1 in 10 dilution. It came out, I think, out at about 4,000 Scoville heat units. This one I had to do a 1 in 100 dilution, and it came out at about 11,100 Scoville heat units. And then the Carolina Reaper, I again had to do a 1 in 100 dilution, and that came out at 68,000 Scoville heat units. And the nice thing about the system is it's, you get results in many things in life, but you never actually get to see this, the raw data. So you can see here this kind of this peak height here for the Carolina Reaper one. If I go back and have a look at the Habanero, I'll have a quick look at the Habanero. It's still pretty intense, and that's probably, that's the 1 in 10. I want to actually look at the 1 in 100. So I'm just going to look at the Habanero 1 in 100. This is the one I want to look at. Yeah, it's, that's intense, but you can see why I've got 11,000, because it's just not as high as the Carolina Reaper. And then the mildest of these 3 is A here, which was just a 1 in 10 dilution. And there's my peak, but this is a 1 in 10 dilution, and this came out at about 4,000 Scoville heat units. So I think I can sort of finish it with, I'll just do a quick sort of summary. Well, not summary, I'll just do a quick, if you've got any questions regarding Food Sense Generation 4, testing chili sauces, which we do, testing chili powders, testing oleo resins, testing chilies themselves on occasions, don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, thanks very much.